Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Joan Hunter. I'm here today to talk with you about stress and specifically about our nervous system and how it reacts to stress. I'm introducing the idea of the fight or flight response that has to do with our sympathetic nervous system. And this is an incredible tool that our bodies have evolved over time to keep us safe and to help us survive. And currently, we experience a lot of different things that cause stress in our lives that are not for survival. And so, really helping our body shift out of that fight or flight is incredibly important when we talk about stress reduction, which is one of our pillars of lifestyle medicine. So, I want to share with you the pathophysiology, why our bodies are hardwired for survival with the fight or flight nervous system. And I'm going to start with giving you a few definitions about stress. I want to introduce you all to Dr. Hans Selye. He is a scientist from the 1940s and 50s who actually coined the term stress as we think about it today. And stress, when you think about it, is basically a force that's applied to a system, could be you, could be a building, and it deforms that system. Basically, takes the normally functioning system and stops it from functioning in a normal way. And when Dr. Selye described stress for the first time as it applied to people and our reactions to stress and how that causes disease in our bodies, he really thought that maybe he should have called it something different. Maybe he should have called it strain, because there are different types of stress. You can have stress that's good for you, the stress that motivates you, healthy striving, creating a new project, doing really well at work. You know, there's some amount of stress that's caused, but if it's motivating and pushes you in a positive way, then that's actually not necessarily a bad thing. The whole idea of flow state, of having enough kind of stress, but also creativity, where you're not bored, but you're not overworked. That's eustress. That's good stress, and it moves people forward, and it leads to creation and invention. So stress is not always bad. So Dr. Selye thought that he should have called it strain, because strain, when applied to a system, that's what causes the stress that causes the deformation or the breaking down of the system. And in this situation, what we really want to think of is distress, bad stress, financial stress, natural disasters, the tiger chasing you, why our bodies evolved to have a stress response. So there are good and bad types of stress. And really, it's that bad stress applied repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly that causes strain and causes disease in our bodies when we internalize that stress long term. Resilience is another term I want you to be aware of, and we'll talk about this more as we talk about stress reduction and things that people can do to manage really their response to stress. We can't manage all the external things that are coming at us, but we can choose our response. And that's why in the stress reduction pillar of lifestyle medicine, it really is your choices about your thoughts, your actions, your emotions, and your response to stressful stimuli. And the way that we build up a stress response can lead to resilience. So that's a whole other talk that we'll get to at another time. But I want to tell you more about our sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight response. So we have two sides of what we call the autonomic nervous system. So this is things that your brain controls really without you thinking about it. So the sympathetic nervous system is really what we refer to as our survival mode portion of our brain and of our nervous system. This is your body anticipates a threat, and there are multiple changes within your body that trigger what we call the fight or flight response. So really not something that you can control, but you can probably think of if you're in a stressful situation, like having to speak in public, or asking for a promotion, or you have your boss is coming and he's in a bad mood and is going to yell at you. Certain things start to happen in your body. You might sweat, your heart might beat faster, you might shake a little bit, and your stomach might get upset. All of these changes in your body are basically helping your body prepare to fight So you're going to meet that saber-toothed tiger head on and take it out, or flight. You're going to run away, because that's what survival is all about, is choosing the action that's going to have you still alive at the end of the day. Now, the other side of that, our parasympathetic nervous system, is really what we could consider the rest and digest portion of the nervous system. Really, you're calm, you're cool, collected, and things are good. But you don't want to be in rest and digest if that saber-toothed tiger is coming at you. So that's why there's two separate sides of our autonomic nervous system. So here's the idea: fight or flight. If you've got to summon up your courage, get all your strength, you want, all the blood flowing out of your core, so you don't want to be digesting your food or having to have a bowel movement. If you've got to fight the saber-toothed tiger, so your blood's going out to the extremities so you can run fast, so you can fight. Your pupils dilate so you can see everything that's around you. And it really is, as I was saying before, the idea of survival mode. But you can see here, whether it's the saber-toothed tiger coming at you or it's your boss coming in on Friday with more reports that he needs you to file, our brain reacts the same way. We haven't evolved different from how we evolved as a species for survival. So, and you can see here that in the curve that when you have a stressful situation, your body does a really good job of, turning on that fight or flight. Let's get active. Let's get ready to do the work. And then you kind of recruit yourself. You get going. You do the work. You try to fight off that stress that's coming, and you can do that for a little while. And then things kind of go back to normal. If you jump over the hurdle, you run away from the tiger, you get to go back to normal. But if the stress continues, if it's something that's ongoing, then your body can only hold on for so long until you start going into that distress, into that strain where things start breaking down. You get into a place of long-term survival, and it's really exhausting to our bodies to live in that high stress situation. But a lot of us do, right? A lot of us have high stress jobs. A lot of us have financial concerns or worries. A lot of us have kids that we're taking for, or aging parents. So the stress, we can't control what life is throwing at us. But again, in the next video, we'll talk about how can we control our reaction to it. So here are some of the effects of chronic stress. I'm sure all of you know people who get tension headaches or, tight neck. I have a stress spot in my shoulder. We do know that long-term stress increases your blood pressure. It can lead to cardiovascular disease. I'm sure some of you have known someone who's given themselves a stomach ulcer because of their stress. We know the immune function of the immune system does not work as well if you're under chronic stress. There's actually been studies looking at how people react to vaccines, like medical students studying for their finals. They're given a flu shot and they check their antibody titers, and they're not as good as if they were in that rest and digest relaxation stage. So our bodies really don't want to live in fight or flight all the time. You can see how it's really depleting and has a lot of long-term health consequences. So here's Dr. Selye's kind of words of wisdom. And from the man who created stress, maybe we should take note. It's not our stress that kills us, but it is our reaction to it. And I'm here to tell you, and we'll talk about it more in an upcoming video, that you get the choice. You can choose to live in survival mode, or you can choose to rise to the occasion, do what you can do, and also choose a different response. So I hope this was helpful so that you could understand the basis of this pathophysiology. This is hardwired into our brain. And until we kind of learn new techniques to activate more of the parasympathetic nervous system, be in that rest and digest stage more often, a lot of us continue to live in survival mode in the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. We'll talk more on how to improve the response of your parasympathetic nervous system and turn down your fight or flight in an upcoming video. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you soon. This is Dr. Hunter signing off to your good health.